Morning Show. I'm your host, Shay Cannon. I'm an award-winning fractional chief operating officer. Award-winning, I've almost forgot, right? With an exclusive clientele of 6 and 7 figure CEOs. However, I have a mission. That mission includes you, entrepreneurs and small business owners who are spinning their wheels and struggling to get to their first 6 figures in business. I want to show you how to make the money and create time freedom. Let's make the money and create time freedom. My freedom looks like living and working my business from anywhere in the world. I'll spare you the 5 year journey and just let you know I'm living my best life and working my best business currently from Mexico. Okay, let's get started because the blog for this week is at shaycannon.com/partner. Okay, /partner, because we're talking about partnerships that pay for small business. Let me make sure I move these comments up where I can see them. There we go. So the very revenue goals that we think we'll take all year long and possibly across multiple offers can be achieved through one strategic partnership. Yes, one. These relationships can be turning points toward your business success by offering a unique blend of mutual benefits, innovation, and market expansion. We all want market expansion. Successful partnerships share a couple of things in common: a commitment to a shared goal and a vision for leveraging collective strengths to achieve that shared goal. So let's talk about the different things you need to be considering when it comes to partnerships. Number one is the types of partnerships. There are a few that tend to be common and very lucrative. If you want to know what those are, we talked about that on Monday, so go to Monday's replay. On Tuesday's replay, we talked about how to make sure that the partners that you are considering are aligned. Are they great partners? Things that you need to consider. We talked about that on yesterday, okay? Today, we're going to talk about partnership agreements, okay? Because we not just taking the words, right? We need some agreements. Now, I am not an attorney, a licensed attorney. So what I need you to know is this is from a layperson's point of view, just a layperson that happened to have been an ex-paralegal, but hey, a layperson nonetheless. These are the things that you want to be looking out to include in your agreement, okay? It is not the agreement in its entirety, but it's things you want to be looking to make sure you put in your partnership agreements. Good morning, Demetra, over on the Facebook side. You want to put in there clear roles and responsibilities, okay? You want to define each partner's role, contribution, and responsibility, okay? Because again, at the end of a partnership, you don't want to be left having done your part and somebody else has not done their part. Or you don't want to be left seeming not in integrity because you forgot a piece of your part. Okay. So clear roles and responsibilities. We also want to put in there revenue sharing and financial arrangements. Okay. Establishing how profits, costs, and losses will be shared among partners. This is so important. Okay, because there's nothing like getting to the end of a partnership and somebody's talking about splitting everything in half, but their expenses weren't as much as yours or your expenses weren't as much as theirs, and someone does not feel like things are being fair. All of these things need to be hashed out from the beginning. All right. Intellectual property. Okay, we need to know who owns what. Okay, who can use what and for how long. We need to protect our intellectual property created and shared during the partnership. Okay, you can have NDAs. You can spell out what's yours, what's theirs. You can spell out, do they have any temporary use of yours, that type of thing, but it needs to be spelled out. And I'm not even just talking about things that you've created before. I'm also talking about things that you create for the particular partnership. Okay, if you created it, it's yours, but only if you spell it out, right? So spell that out about your intellectual property. Dispute resolution mechanisms. Okay, we need to set up processes for resolving disagreements or conflicts that may arise. All right. What we know is that the court process is long and expensive. This is why a lot of people put in arbitration or mediation clauses, because that tends to be cheaper than actually going to court. You also get a resolution quicker that way. Also, you could have in there, different attempts to make somebody whole before you even get to that type of point, get with an attorney. And last but not least, exit strategies. Okay, outlining conditions under which the partnership can be terminated and how assets or responsibilities will be divided. Okay, I would add in there also the intended end of the agreement, because even though we want to forge long-term partnerships, we don't want to be long-term in one contract, in a never-ending contract. Okay, we just saying we want to continue to do business with you. We want to continue to have contracts with you. We don't want one long unending contract. Okay, we don't want one that automatically renews, any of that. All right. So what I want to know from the ladies in studio, and Demetra over there on the Facebook side, and anybody else hiding on the Facebook side, feel free to comment. But what I want to know from you is, which one of these things for an partnership agreement had you not thought of? Okay. And I'll start with Dr. LaFera. Which one had you not thought of, Dr. LaFera?
You always start with me. Okay.
Not always.
I know that the partnership agreement and everything has to happen, and um so I had kind of heard like a, a decent amount of this before. Um so partnerships do or initially did really scare me because, I probably wouldn't have put like all those boundaries in place. Because
Mm-hmm.
like basically what you just talked about was like boundaries.
Yes,
um
but legal boundaries, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my answer. It's like this is really good, and I kind of heard a lot of this before.
Okay. Cool beans. All right. Kimberly, I don't know if you're available to come off the mic. Uh, I'll I'll give you a moment to see. But which of these um was new to you? If you can come off the mic.
Um, so when you say partnership, just so I'm clear,
Mm-hmm.
do you mean like bringing someone on as a partner in your business, or do you mean partnering with another entity or business? Maybe I missed it because I'm working, so I didn't.
Yeah, you probably missed it because you've been, driving and different stuff. But on Monday we defined the partnerships, right? So think joint venture partnerships, okay? Think not a partner in your business as like they own half of your business, but a partnership to do business together. That can be temporary, and so that's why we're outlining it in an agreement. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Strategic
Yes.
alliances, joint ventures, affiliate partnerships.
Okay. So yeah, I remember I said that I do the affiliate piece now, but I didn't honestly didn't consider an actual partnership, like a joint venture type partnership. So that's definitely something that new that I would consider.
Okay. Now, to get you up to speed to where we are today, which one of these parts to protect your interests and to be fair do you want to include in the agreement? Clear roles and responsibilities, revenue sharing, and financial arrangements, intellectual property rights, dispute resolution mechanisms, exit strategies, right? All of them need to be in the agreement, but which one was new to you today? That you're like, oh, okay, I didn't think to put that in an agreement.
IP.
All
Um,
right, cool
that's a
beans.
big one. Yeah. I
It
didn't
is a big one.
I
It
didn't
is a
think
big one.
about it, but and I could tell this quick story recently. I have a
Mm-hmm.
friend of mine who's also a coach, and she talked about an organization that she worked with her beauty brand.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, the company that she was using to do her packaging and everything, she
Mm-hmm.
reread the contract before she signed it, and they said that if they it's your even if it's your design, if you decide to go with them for the creation of it, they own the
Mm-hmm.
IP.
Oh, heck
And
no. Yeah.
yeah, so she did not do it, but she said it's the little things like that people get caught
You
in.
are correct. You are
Yep.
correct. Demetra over here on the Facebook side said probably none of them are new to her. I think is what she said. She said probably none of them, but I think she's saying probably none of them are new to her. Heather, which one made you think and give you pause and you were like, I didn't think of that one?
I think they all seem pretty, I guess, commonsensical, but the IP one, who gets to use what and for how long?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you think, oh, well, we're doing this project. So obviously, what happens during the project is cool, but then when the project is over, it's over, right? But that should be out. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, because and I'll tell you another one. I have a business bestie who has a program that she has done this program in partnership with an organization. And of course they paid her to come and run the program.
Mhm.
Well, what they did was she found out that they were running her program without her, and of course
Oh,
not paying her in subsequent years. And it just so happened she saw a flyer of them having done it, and this was like, I think like their third time doing it. And then she didn't know that they had done it without her 3 times. So yeah, we have to get these agreements. We have to have parameters around these agreements to protect ourselves. And of course, we want to be fair to other people too, right? So there's mutual protection. But yeah, we definitely want to get that in place. And it usually is the case that the person that brings about the agreement for the other person to sign is a little more protected, you know what I'm saying? Because it's their document. So you might want to have one drawn up for yourself so that you can go ahead and send that their way, right? It's no problem for people to want to negotiate over an agreement. They like this clause or they don't like that clause, or they want this to be more clear, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. And that's fine. Always be willing to negotiate as long as it's still fair, right? But wording can be obscure, and someone may not be comfortable with the obscureness of a word or the wording. And so be willing to change the wording as long as it still protects both people. That's one thing. Don't be, thrown off if somebody will negotiate the terms. Don't be thrown off if somebody says, I want to get my lawyer to look at it. First of all, most of them are not getting their lawyer to look at it, because let me tell you how many people in my family, in my circle, get me to look at their contracts just because I'm a former paralegal. So it's probably not even a lawyer, but never, even if it is, I mean, if the lawyer can help you to make it better through negotiation, I mean, there's no harm, no foul. You know what I'm saying? We just want to make sure everybody is protected. So anytime you present an agreement or a contract, be ready for somebody to want to negotiate, and be okay with the negotiation as long as it's still fair. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you do these things up front. You do not want to do these things after you've already started the partnership. You already got skin in the game, money and time in the game, and then something happens to where you feel like you're trapped in doing it because you've invested so much already. So don't do that. You also may encounter people who, they try to go ahead and get started before the contract, right? It's signed. They say, oh, I'm gonna sign it. Let's go ahead and get this started. I got somebody looking at it. Let's go. No, we can't get anything started until it's signed. So all of that urgency that you feel should be urgency on your part to go ahead and sign it before we get started. Okay. So don't allow time and urgency and deadlines to make you continue on without a signed contract. I've seen that before. That never works in your favor, right? So now you never had a signed contract. Now you don't have the recourses that you would have had you had a signed contract. All right. Let's talk about some other things that should be included in a partnership. Again, the blog post always comes out of my brain, but then I like to go and find other information. So additional elements for partnerships could be confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements. It could be a whole NDA agreement that's separate, or it could be an NDA clause within your partnership agreement. Either way, okay. Exclusive. Oh, again, I am not a licensed attorney. Let me put all of these disclaimers out there. Okay. Please check with your local licensed attorney that is licensed in the area in which you are trying to do work. Exclusivity clauses. That could be determined where the partnership restricts partners from engaging in similar agreements with competitors in other businesses. Because let me tell you how sometimes you want to partner with somebody, they never even thought about doing the thing that you want to partner with them to do. You just saw the value in it. So you don't then want them to go find somebody else like you in your area where you do business to do the same thing, right? So that could be an exclusivity clause. Decision-making processes. What we know is that when you're in a partnership with two people, that's 50-50. Who's the breaking decision maker, right? So there has to be something about the decision-making process. So clearly outline how decisions will be made within the partnership, including voting rights, majority rules, consensus requirements, especially for critical decisions impacting the partnership's direction. Now, let me tell you how basically you whoever is the expert in the area really should kind of be giving the recommendation for that area, but it doesn't mean that their decision is the final decision. All right, so come up with a way that if you guys are a stalemate and it's only two of you, how do we break this stalemate? You know what I'm saying? So there has to be something in place. Otherwise 50-50, we never get anywhere. All we do is go back and forth. We both got equal power, right? Contributions and capital infusion requirements. So detail the initial contributions, financial resources, assets, time of each partner, and outline the procedure of any future capital requirements or contributions needed, right? So some people, even if you can get a venue for free, okay, you might want to put in that contract how much that venue is worth, right? Because that worth could be an asset that somebody else may need to come up with money against to make it an even exchange. Y'all get what I'm saying? Right? So if I have access, so Kalia, shout out to Kalia, is getting a commercial building, right? So I have access because Kalia and I connected. She offers me her building for free for me to hold an event. I have a partner, right? And the partner, if we only look at true money exchanged, I can be unfairly taken advantage of because the cost and the worth and the value of the assets I brought to the table outweigh the actual money the other person brought. So you have to think like that also. Assets and resources are worth things. Put a number on it, okay? Being connected to somebody that brings this, or, you know, now you got the AV for free. Well, if you got the AV for free in the partnership, we need to know the value of that AV because the other person need to be bringing something to the table that's just as valuable, okay? So that's something to think about. Performance metrics and benchmarks. Let me tell you how y'all should have KPIs. What is supposed to be the result of what the other person brings to the table, okay? This is not just what are the things they're supposed to be performing. What is the result? Right? So if you're supposed to get us vendors, right? The KPI or the success of you getting us vendors is not how many people you reached out to. It's how many paying vendors do we have, right? How many vendors show up? Those are the actual KPIs, not how many people was reached out to, because if you didn't actually get the vendors, then you didn't actually perform the task to the result. So we have to look at that. And that's another thing we have to do with teams too, but I digress. Any governing laws or jurisdictions, you got to think local laws, county laws, state laws, federal laws, make sure you're within those. Amendment process. Once you sign an agreement, doesn't mean it cannot be changed. It simply means a change has to be agreed upon by all parties. So how do we bring about a change that can be agreed upon? You have to have an amendment process. So define the process for making amendments to the partnership agreement, including what constitute minor change and major change for the approval process. The approval process for each. All right. Last but not least, partnership term and renewal conditions. I kind of already talked about that though. We want to form long-term access to a partner, but we don't want contracts and agreements to be longer than the actual thing we're doing one at a time. Okay? Because you have the opportunity to make it better the next time, unless you have signed something that says, oh, we're going to do it the same way and we're going to renew it to do this, and you don't have an end date. So now people are still using your intellectual property because the contract don't have an end date. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So anything new pop up for y'all, you can come off the mic and tell me. Meanwhile, I'll read what Demetra got going on over here on the Facebook side. She said probably would not have thought of any of them is what she meant before. And then she said, that's why attorneys are people way knowledgeable than me need to be hired. It's reasons like this that had me not looking for additional tutors for reading and writing right now. Yeah. I will say Don't be afraid to expand, Demetra. Just get the protection that you need, right? And if you have to start off with the protections that you know, just start off with the protections that you know. And let me tell you, the first thing you need to go to try to protect in your agreements are the very things you're afraid of. That's where you start, right? Start with what you're afraid of. Oh, I don't want to partner anybody because I think they're going to take my ideas. Okay, put that in the agreement. You know what I'm saying? That's the IP part of it, right? Oh, I don't want to partner with anybody because I don't feel like they're ever going to put in as much as I put in. Well, let's put some language around that, right? And you don't have to put Latin language and legalese around it. It could be plain language. So start with what you know. Okay? Don't hold up your money in possible expansion, because what we know is some things done out of fear don't even come to fruition anyway, right? So this could be, again, if it's not working, that's where an amendment can come in. Just keep all of that in mind. So Dr. LaFera said, I don't like 50-50 agreements. I would need to get an attorney or someone legal to look over in any agreement is what I'm gonna say. She said an agreement. I'm gonna say any agreement. And the funny thing is, y'all, did you know that most attorneys charge less if you bring them a ready-made contract for them to revise than if they have to draft a contract from the beginning? So, I mean, Google your heart out. You know what I'm saying? And see what you can do. But also, let me talk about some places you can kind of go get these templates from, right? You can go and get some templates from LegalZoom. You can go get some from Rocket Lawyer, Law Depot, Score. Your local Score probably has an agreement you can start off with. Template.net has some. So these are all, except for the Score. Score is a local entity, but all the rest of them are actual online legal document template outlets. And so that can be where you start, read it over, make sure that the thing that you were afraid of is covered in it. If not, try to add it in and then take it to an attorney to make sure that all of your interests are protected. Okay. And again, if you take them a document, that can cost less than if they have to draft it from the beginning. All right. Any questions or anything anybody wants to add? Because I don't think that when we do things, especially do things with other people, that we're thinking of agreements, right? I love the word agreement. It's a little softer sounding than contract, but they're all contracts. Just don't, you know what I'm saying? They all are. So does anybody have any questions about partnership agreements? Or does anybody have anything they're afraid of and kind of want some layperson language around that? That might be a great question that someone has. Anybody?
Shouldn't an agreement?
Look, you want this unlicensed attorney feedback?
Absolutely, 100%. Shouldn't there also be, like when you're talking about all these clauses and whatever, shouldn't there also be specific SOPs around things too? Like it feels like there should, but maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like there should be processes in place that govern, or maybe I don't know if that covered in other things, roles, responsibilities, stuff like that. I don't know.
It could be. But you don't micromanage the agreement like that. You see what I'm saying? Just like you shouldn't micromanage team members. So what you're going to concentrate on are results when it comes to the agreement. You want to macro manage. We want this result, or we don't want to have this result. Now, how you get to it, y'all could agree on. But usually what happens is it's within, you partner with somebody because they had a certain expertise or a certain something that was valuable. And you usually leave that certain something to that person, right? To get the result. They're supposed to bring back the result. It's usually how it works. But it kind of depends, right? There might be some things where you put in there, a little more specific language, but I would need an actual example. But having a step-by-step SOP in an agreement, no.
Okay.
That's too micromanaging.
Okay.
We're just going to say generally. Who beans? Anybody else have any questions about partnership agreements from this layperson that is not a licensed attorney, or something that you're afraid of that you want to make sure could be in a agreement that you are trying your hand at drafting before giving it to a licensed attorney to look over?
Good morning.
Good morning, Shawana.
One of the things, because I do a few things recently as I prepare to do more music. And in times past, I know how some of those things with some of my rights being mishandled. I was listening at you on the other side, and like you said, it's making things really, really clear who is actually being hired in, who would then get a split of the project and stuff like that. And some of this stuff can be really tricky too, especially if you do not understand all of the business of whatever those industries are, because some of the stuff can go way over your head, even in what we do right here with these shows, because this is a public platform. And we already know that these shows can be, people can take clips, people can do that. And I'm guessing with even being on these public platforms, do you believe that there should be some type of something so that, for example, this show, you really hit it hard, boom, 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 boom. You gave a lot of whatever. We know that it's yours. We understand by coming on camera, this your platform, you could reuse it. But then because it's not said, or is it like an unsaid thing in other places? How does that part work?
So it just depends, right? Because I think that that anything public cannot then be private. You see what I'm saying?
That's my
Anything you
thought.
did
Yeah.
in public cannot be deemed as private. Just because you don't agree with something. If it was public, it was public. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so there's that. But I would think of it more as an industry. If you're on a platform, you are relegated to terms and conditions, right? You didn't have to sign anything. But what happened was when you click that box to say you agree with the terms and conditions, that was an agreement, right? That was a contract that you agreed to abide by being on these people's platform, right? And so it's kind of like when we buy a car, when we have telephone service, cell service, whatever, we agreeing to all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? That we ain't looking at, because what we gonna do? We need the car, right? So yeah, we automatically agreeing to arbitration, and you know what I'm saying? We need the telephone, so we automatically agreeing to certain things. But and nowadays, in their agreements, they have that they can change the whole agreement without your knowledge. They just have to notify you that there's a change. That's why y'all get these notifications now. Your so-and-so has been updated. Well, hell, you didn't know what the old one said. Then they tell you it's been updated, but they don't list out the changes. They just say it's been updated. You take your ass over there and read the 500-page document and try to figure out, you know what I'm saying? So, some protections we give up, just to be in public domain, just to have convenience, you know what I'm saying? So there's kind of no protecting that stuff. Now, when you go back to the entertainment industry in and of itself, that's why there are entertainment lawyers, right? For example, the reason why writers and actors and all that stuff, they go on strike is because technology and the age catches up with their money opportunities, right? So when you first became an actor way back in the day and you got paid such and such amount for your your being in a movie in the theaters, when they came out with DVDs, you weren't getting paid from the DVDs because that's not what your contract said. You already got paid for being in the movie theater, right? So now they're making money off the DVD and you're not getting in it, but they're making more money off the DVD than they made off the theater. So now you're out. So what do? You got to go on strike to renegotiate, right? Then you got musicians, you know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, the LPs, okay, the tapes, okay, the CDs, but then we got live streaming. You know what I'm saying? And even authors, right? Authors, you guys have rights and you sign a right in the United States to publish this book and they pay you, but they have bought the total rights to your book. Now they can do a movie without you. They can put it in other countries without you. They can put it in other formats without you, and you're not getting any money off of those other formats and stuff. But this is why we have entertainment attorneys to try to help us. But this is also why we have negotiations, and this is why we file lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. But you're not always going to be successful. Go back to Prince, right? Why did Prince sue? I think it was Sony Records. I can't remember which record studio, but he didn't win. You know what I'm saying? He didn't win at all. He still had to rock out that contract and do as many albums as they said he had to do. And that's why he had that tattoo on his face talking about he was a slave, right? So it's probably darn near impossible to protect everything, just because even if you think of everything for the here and the now, you don't know what the future holds, and something new is going to come that's going to outweigh the fairness of what you've negotiated. So you can't control everything, you can't protect everything, but also we know what's reasonable and what's not reasonable, right? And so the layman's measurement is what a reasonable person have expected. You see what I'm saying? So that's when you get you can't expect anything you have said or done in public to then be private and nobody talk about it. You see what I'm saying? So was that helpful, Shawana, even though it wasn't a finite answer?
No, it's just good to even have that conversation, to just as a reminder for people who, if you're not doing it this year, it's still a good reminder. Because when I think about the music, my music, and preparing to do more, it's just things back then that, one, I wasn't even, as aware of as I am now. So it is, like you said, having the contract to outright be as plain as possible.
Yeah.
So you're not wondering what the words are. Because I know in times past, I was like, what is this? It was like looking at a foreign language because of how
But
contracts are set
though,
up.
Shawana, in the day of Chat GPT, though, you can take that clause and type it right on in there and be like, translate this into layman's terms.
Yeah, no, yes, for sure. Because I'm in the process of looking at some other stuff, and I want to make sure as it relates
And
to
guess
that.
what else you can do? You can tell them, hey, I'm doing a partnership with this person. I'm afraid of this happening. Can you give me some language to put it in an agreement? Now it's gonna tell you that it's not an attorney, and be like, yeah, I don't need it. I'm gonna get an attorney to look over, whatever. Trick it into telling you some stuff, right? Because it has the protections in there to keep them from getting sued, but there's always a way around it. Just like they don't do transcripts of stuff, but if you tell it to summarize something, right? You still give me the information I need, right? So yeah, you can say, give me examples of or samples of, rather than telling it to write your clause, tell them to give you some examples of, you know what I'm saying? And it'll give you some examples. So yeah.
Yeah, no, this just was timely, as always. It was a timely conversation.
Good.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Tomorrow we're gonna round out partnerships. Let me tell y'all how I'm on vacation next week. Don't forget, y'all, to vote on what rewind y'all want to happen in lieu of the live morning show. Don't forget that we have our movie club night tomorrow. And the movie is The Founder with Michael Keaton. It's about the founder. Well, he wasn't the founder of McDonald's, but the Ray Kroc, who took over McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers. But also something is happening in the Facebook groups where come April the 22nd, they're going to kick out all third-party apps and permissions from Facebook groups, not Facebook in and of itself, right? But you won't be able to use a scheduler for your Facebook group. You won't be able to stream in there, none of that stuff. So the morning show, by the time we come back April 8th, I probably will put something else in place because I won't be able to zoom into the group. Now, I'm thinking about going live on YouTube as an unlisted YouTube, and then after the morning show, have it play in the group. So everybody that is hiding in the wings, What I'm gonna say is you'll be getting the show not live unless you join the link, because I will be putting the unlisted links in here. But how we do it will be a little different. I'm not gonna wait till April 22nd to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and get started when I come back on April 8th. While I'm vacation, I'm gonna think all around it, and think about the best way to do it. So just be aware that how we do the morning show is going to change come April 8th. And so we won't be able to stream directly into the Facebook group. And if you have a Facebook group, please be aware that anything you are depending on that is not a Facebook feature will go away in your group. Why not use the Facebook streaming software? What you know is a lot of streaming software don't allow you to have this many guests.
So you
That's
mean that
number one.
that's going to even affect like not only Zoom, but StreamYard and other things that we.
Yes, anything that you're using to go into the group, you can still stream on your page. And what they're saying actually is try to use the features of your page and then put them in the group that way. But basically it's just changing the way that we do stuff. And what I'll do is I'll put the screenshot of what they sent me. It's 2 screenshots because it was kind of long, so I had to do 2 screenshots in the comments of this broadcast, so that if you have a group, you can see it. You just won't be able to click on any of the links, but they're pushing you to use all of their own features in the groups, and I'm quite sure they're going to eventually go site-wide with that on some stuff, because they're just proprietary like that.
Dang, well, I'm glad I tuned in because I sure missed that announcement, and that definitely will affect some things I do in my group.
Yeah, and maybe even some things you do for your clients. So
this is true because so when you say that, you're correct. So if you are streaming, whether you was doing what is that Hoopsuite and things like that into different groups, that is going to affect those groups too.
It is. You're gonna have to but you can within the group, you can schedule posts within the group, just through Facebook.
Right.
They're not going to allow you to use Hootsuite or any other third-party app. If it's not a integrated native feature of Facebook, you cannot use it in the group after April 22nd. I know.
Dang it. God.
Why do they have to mess with everybody? Like, what is the point?
Oh, okay.
God.
What you had, Glo?
Okay, I have a question about about the this is from last week about the SOPs because I'm actually working on it. Okay. So I clicked on the link that you provided for us. Is it going to show the information about what we talked about last week in regards in the chat GPT or no? The only reason why I'm asking is because I know I can go back and watch the video, but you remember the example that you did for me? I was trying to see if that was on your chat GPT. And if not, that's okay. I can go back and watch the video again to actually get, the information that I need. But when I clicked on the link with the email that you sent us out yesterday, and I went on the chat GPT, I don't know whether or not if I was looking in the right spot or if that information is saved from the examples that you went over with us last week.
Okay, so none of the examples, anything I do on my GPT is going to stay on my account.
Okay.
I'm trying to see, did I delete it though? What exactly did I do for you again? I'm sorry.
It was.
I'll try to find it. If it's still on mine, I'll inbox you the link to it, and then you'll have it.
Okay.
But yeah, anything that you saw in there is on my account in ChatGPT. It's not in the actual GPT itself.
Okay.
But once
cool.
you start doing stuff in the GPT, it'll save to yours. Even when you go to the GPT and don't see anything, go to the left and you'll see one of your past conversations.
Okay. Yeah. I've been looking at that. I just thought maybe it will be on yours as well too. So I appreciate you giving me that information.
Yeah, I don't feel like I deleted it, but sometimes I be cleaning house over here. But I'll look for it and and then I will send you a link.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, no problem. Dr. LaFera said, can you stream to the page, then hide and keep it in the group? So you can stream to the page and then share it to the group. That's what they're telling you to do, actually. They're telling you do whatever you want to do on the page and then put it in the group from the page. But what you know is that means it will not be live. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But yeah. So I'm thinking where I got my idea from is that I'm a part of a global marketing program, not for service, but for like coaching for knowledge, right? And what they do is because we're global, they go live on YouTube as an unlisted link. And so we all get that unlisted link ahead of time, right? But the thing is now no longer will you have, maybe it will be, I don't know. I have to work it out on vacation. My brain can't do it right now. So maybe I don't know if the link will change each time or will it stay the same, because the link that I'm giving you, in the group, I think is going to be the YouTube link. And then
Right,
you
but Shay,
also have the Zoom link.
can't you from in Zoom, you can stream straight to YouTube, which means you could still have this type of setup if we're coming into your Zoom.
Yes, so that's only one part of it though, Shawana, remember? So keep in mind, that's one part. The other part is you have people commenting in Facebook because it's also streaming into the group. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now the engagement is going to drop off and be relegated to just us in the Zoom. But I gotta spin it out and think about it, right?
Because you
Because
can't
the Zoom
like,
does have chat, right? But again, you're going to be taking people off of the platform they're used to being on, that they are hiding in the shadows and listening to, like you do, Shawana, right? You're not just on YouTube, you see what I'm saying? Like you are just on Facebook.
yeah,
So
but can't
now
you
we got to
immediately
train the audience to do something different. You see that?
no, but I'm saying, like, for example, you can't, I mean, I know, like, while you're saying good morning and all of that, and then when the link go out, like when you are live, you hit that link and then immediately share it back.
We gonna try some stuff, but again, you know what I'm saying? Again, we gonna see if it works.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I
Annoying.
mean,
Okay.
so now I have to create, look, speaking of SOPs, I have to create a new one. I had to figure out the strategy around it to get the same results as same as possible or better. And then create a new SOP around it. So yeah, I'm not going to be thinking about that this week. In fact, one of the people my brain is reserved for today is Dr. Toya. So before we get out of here, speaking of Dr. Toya, did you want to say anything about partnership agreements or partnerships that we've talked about so far, Dr. Toya?
Nope.
She like, no, say your brain for me for later on. I got you, Dr. Toya. I got you. All right, y'all. Well, have a great day. The studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a great day, everybody.